Okay, I'm ready.
You rolling?
Yeah, I'm rolling.
Hey Pete, what's up chum? What's gotten you looking so glum? Hey Pete, what's going down?
It feels like everything's in flames and it's crashing all around.
He bought himself a church and he thought he had a plan. But as it turns out, Pete is not the man. A little hard work and a little bit of luck.
But no, everything's terrible and no one gives a fuck.
Hey Pete, why so sad? What's got you feeling so lonely and mad? Hey Pete, it sounds like you're screwed.
I'm watching all the reruns and there's nothing I can do.
Well, he's in a situation, he's over his head. He can't fall asleep, tossing, turning in bed. He's digging for answers and coming up with rocks.
I'm getting pretty tired of sucking all these cocks. Metaphorically, of course.
Hey Pete, what you gonna do now? The bill's still gotta get paid somehow. I know you're in the shitter and I know you're feeling low.
But it's Thursday night in Delhi, so we've got to do a show. Theme song, fellas. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Dutch Hall.
Hey.
We are coming to you in the backstage podcast booth of the Dutch Hall in the bowels of the Spiky Ball Studios in Delhi, Ontario. We are joined tonight by what is the Nocturnal Emissions this week, comprised of Steve the Reluctant German and Mike Zinger.
Woo.
Did an excellent job on the opener.
Yeah.
And we also have with us our podcast sketch artist and technical support for tonight's show, Jordan Gordfa, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And I am your host. Oh, that's applause for Jordan. Listen, I don't want to ruin that.
No,
Let's
I'm the
keep
dick
going.
because I didn't applaud for them.
Yeah, they got nothing. And yeah, and I am the host. Let me just finish.
All right.
I am the host of this show, the Dutch Hall. Pete Van Dyke. There you go. Now you go. Now.
Hey.
Hey.
Oh, yeah, I didn't mean to clap for myself. but then now you can go. What did you? What
Oh,
you
no,
want to say?
I was just going to say Jordan was too busy sketching to be able to stop and applaud.
Applaud. Yes.
And being the sound man.
Yeah.
Now, Jordan, does a concept for your sketch, does it unveil itself throughout the program, or is it something that you come into with a preconceived, vision?
Well, with a tasty gem like that to start the show off, I mean, I'm already, being persuaded
Yeah.
to do a certain content here. So let's just see how it goes.
See how it goes, eh? The content could sway the picture, is what you're saying.
Well, yeah, that's always a thing, when the infamous swastika was drawn, that was mid-show.
Yeah.
It just had to happen.
Now, when I showed that to some people, that sketch, the swastika sketch, as you might put it, people were sometimes, why'd you have to do that, is what I was told. And I'm like, I am not endorsing in any way the Nazi party. Steve was.
Yes.
And that's what I was,
established. Yeah.
in the picture. It was Steve that was doing that, and I was against it. We here at at the Dutch Hall are against Nazis.
Yeah, me too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, right? Mike, Steve, you say you're against it too, right?
It's true, yeah.
All right, I'm holding him to that. Jordan,
All right, thank you.
I heard it.
wait, you heard him say it.
I heard him.
God, I think I'm getting through to him finally after all these years. Finally, after all these years. Anyways, Steve, last week there was the German on the show, Uli, right?
Yeah.
That fella. He did not show up this week.
No.
No percussions needed this week. Just the two of you. It really was an old throwback to Dutch halls in the past. I thought it was because when we started out, just acoustic,
Yeah, that's
no
right.
drums. And Jake Kipp said we couldn't play drums because we couldn't get the sound right,
And we said,
and it put us on the spot.
challenge accepted.
Yeah, challenge accepted. And then it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Now it's smaller and smaller and smaller. Seems to make more sense.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Because the band's all gone, Steve. There's no more nocturnal
It's
emissions.
just me. It's just me.
It's
now.
just you now.
And Mike Zinger. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah.
Guest emission.
Yeah. You have played with the nocturnal emissions in the past too.
Yeah.
This
True, out in the pool shed.
is out in the pool shed. You were one
A
of
few times.
yeah. And we've never really, though Mike's been on our program supported. You've even been in the audience for some.
True.
And we've never had a chance to really dig into Mike Zinger. So we're hoping to dig a little bit into the enigma that is Michael Zinger.
Yeah, man.
Oh.
Yeah. One thing I'm going to say, this is just give people a taste of what could come later in the show. When you were a kid, Mr. Zinger, did they refer to you as Mike, Mikey, Michael, or was it like Mickey? Like, did it get in any of that?
I've heard them all. But, it's a lot more of the zing.
Oh.
Zing-a-ding, zing-a-ling.
Right, but you as your parents or whatever, they wouldn't call you Zingaling. No.
Oh, no. You mean in my family?
Yeah, in your family, like when you were a child, what would your parents refer to you as?
There's some Mike, Michael, Mikey.
Mikey.
Yeah.
Never. Okay. Getting that. That's to me.
Not a lot of Mikey.
And then this is a joke I tell on stage. A question I ask a lot of people in the audience: what did they refer to your penis as when you were a kid?
They?
Yeah, your parents. They would say you gotta wash your blank, or you gotta stop tugging at your what?
I don't know if I heard either of those.
They never referred to your penis at all. I see.
Things.
That is actually the most common answer I get when I ask that question when I'm doing stand up, is that people say I have no idea what my thing was called when I was a kid. That is because they're blocking it out from it's a terrible thing your parents called it, and it ruined your confidence. That's what my theory is. I'm not sure, and I bet you, Mike, they call it something like your little fucking mushroom or something like that.
A little mushroom up against them in glass.
Yeah, they'd probably call it little mushroom against the glass, and then they're like, and then you just chose not to remember that. That's what I'm saying. Did you ever hear of a thing called big cock confidence? Like big cock confidence, like a guy that looks like he's got no reason to be confident, and he's real confident, and it's because he must have a big cock.
Sure.
Yeah, it makes sense, right?
It makes sense.
To a room full of dudes, that makes sense. I don't know if a woman could really compare, like, is there anything that's like, would her boobs make her feel confident like that? Because every girl that has big boobs says it hurts their back and they don't like their big boobs. And if they have small boobs, they don't like their small boobs, right? It seems like women aren't happy about anything when it comes to themselves, right? They always want something else. If they have straight hair, they want a perm, If they have curly hair, they want it straightened. Why don't you just and they can get laid anytime they want to, because there's such a demand for them because we're such dirtbags, right?
I think it works that way with beards too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, beard confidence and all those other things you just said.
Do you have beard confidence?
Oh, yeah.
Both you guys do? All three of you guys have beard confidence?
We all have nice beards.
Yeah, but does it make a difference? Like I know when Joe Botello, he's been on our show lots of times. True. He has a job where he's got to shave his beard, and I've said this publicly, so this is not talking behind Joe's back. I've said it on his Instagram and stuff. He looks ridiculous without his beard. He looks like horrible to look at. Remember at the roast
Yeah.
of Pete Van Dyke, how
Freshly unbearded.
he just shaved that beard and he looked. He lost all of his confidence too. Eh? He had nothing left.
Seen him then
Yeah.
too. I was like, have we met?
Yeah, yeah. And he changed.
Yeah.
And now it's growing back again. He's getting his old swag back again. So welcome back to Joe's beard because it covers up his face, which is really helpful. It's terrible to look at. And yeah, so maybe I should grow my beard. See, I don't like growing my beard anymore because it's gray, right? And how did you keep it? You usually got a little bit of gray, but it's not. Yeah, that's
A
the
little gray
thing.
in there.
I used to have a red beard, like a big red beard. And all my red hairs went gray. The only ones that are still dark were the dark ones. But all the ones that weren't the dark ones went gray. Now I look like an old man when I have a beard.
Yeah.
But-
I'd say about the same thing for mine.
You used to have beards more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I didn't have a big gray beard, I had
Oh, yeah.
beards. I would have beards all the time. When I was 17, I grew my first beard to get served, at the beer store. And pretty much then I always I have about a beard a year, like a good beard a year. And then but I haven't had one in about a year and a half. I'm due for a good beard again.
Yeah.
Maybe it is a time to grow it out, but I'm thinking I got to go full Jesus, grow the hair out. It's already getting a little long. Then I go beard, then I go robe, then I go I'll go sandals before robe. Then robe, then just full on delusional, thinking I'm Jesus. Eh?
Animals in your pockets.
Do the people, how that is a common delusion amongst the insane, They even did a movie about it where there's 3 Jesuses or something,
Yep.
and Peter Dinklage is one of them.
Oh yeah.
Did you hear about that movie? Anyways, it was based on a true story where there's people that thought they were Jesus, and then this psychiatrist puts them. Richard Gere plays the psychiatrist, and he says he's going to put them all in one room because they all say there can only be one Jesus, right? And they're the one. And then they put them in one room and they all go fucking batshit because there's 3 of them that all
can
think
be
they're the
only
one.
one.
Yeah. So, anyways, it's a common thing. So I could develop it because I do know it exists now. And so being a bit of a hypochondriac, you just think of it. It's like someone tells you about the coronavirus. You think you might have the coronavirus.
Right.
Do you think you have it?
No.
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 How is it? Did we talk about the market crash last time?
I don't think so.
Because they're saying they're still blaming it on the virus, eh?
Yeah.
The market crash. I think it's way more than that.
Oh, for sure it is.
Yeah, than one thing. I don't think they can say that the whole market just is infected by one thing. And then if it goes up, it's because Joe Biden had a good night or something.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, one thing.
Super Tuesday sounds pretty lame.
I understand these are people who their business is to know this shit, eh?
Mhm.
And then they go on and they talk about it being caused by one singular thing, cause the whole market to collapse. It doesn't make much sense. There's multiple things happening in the world, and they're all shitty
Yeah.
at this point in time.
Absolutely.
I really do. You guys hope that something bad will happen, like a market collapse or a natural disaster? I know you don't really hope it happens, but is there a piece of you that is kind of excited that it might happen in your lifetime?
Well, I think every generation thinks that they are the last, right? And I think that's just a human trait. We've been doing it forever. So
Yeah, but once every 100 years, something big fucking happens, right? And so generally once in your lifetime, you'll have a big moment. Maybe our big moment's already passed. Maybe 9/11 was the big moment that we lived through, and then hopefully that's it. We'll never have another one. But chances are there'll be another big thing, like a fucking comet hits us or some random thing will happen, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm saying, is that something that it would be terrifying to you, or would it be something that is exciting to you?
I think if it's
Jesus Christ.
if it's a giant asteroid coming towards us, there's nothing.
No,
we can
you're
do,
not gonna. I'm just saying, something bad happening, like
A natural disaster,
Yeah.
or like a terrorist act or something.
No, not terrorist act. I'm saying, like a tornado, for example. That's an easy one. Like a tornado, there was one in like Nashville, just came out of nowhere and did some real damage, right? And that's terrible and all that. But like I remember there being a tornado around here, and I was fucking pumped as a kid, and I saw it. Like like it was like it's terrifying, but it's like there's adrenaline that rushes through you,
Sure.
and so there's a
I'd be excited to see a tornado.
right? Yeah, me too. And like if it was a hurricane, and we're not gonna have a hurricane here, but if I was somewhere where a hurricane was happening, I wouldn't I wouldn't go out to seek it out. But if something like that happened, like a natural disaster or something like that, an earthquake, and you got to be there and experience an earthquake, like I know it's terrifying, but there's a piece of me that wants to like be a part of that like disaster.
You want to be Bill Paxton out there with Dorothy is what you're saying.
I'm saying it's just exciting. It gets your motor running, It's not boring.
Dealing with the aftermath would be a different story.
Yeah, it's awful.
absolutely.
Terrible. But maybe it's just the adrenaline of it all.
Well, I even think with 9/11, one tower goes down, one tower gets hit, goes down. You hear about DC, and the way it was going, it unfolded like a movie. And I was not going to say I was sad when the carnage stopped, but part of me was like, oh, is that it? Like it wasn't like they blew up the whole of New York City and then blew up Los Angeles or rockets in Armageddon didn't break out.
Oh, yeah.
Because it felt like it could at that.
Yeah, you didn't
point
know
that
when it
morning.
was going to end. Yeah, you didn't know where the end of it was.
No.
I wonder where, because there was a lot more planned too that day. It could have went further if they didn't shut it down.
Mm-hmm.
But once you tip your hat like they did, you're gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe that's like fucking 20 years ago.
Yeah, it is.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
I can't even believe it. Like a person that was born when that happened is like 19 now. It's drinking,
Yeah.
right?
Crazy.
Goodness gracious, I'm so old. That's the thing about being old is like I still feel like a dumb kid, like I still feel like same as I did when I was young and thinking I was going to eventually grow up and be smarter or something, and then I wasn't. I was the same dummy that I was when I was a kid.
But now you're older.
Yeah, now you just look old, but you're still the same dummy. Like maybe I'm wiser, but I don't know.
You're more experienced. You've lived. You've seen
Right.
some stuff.
Like if you never try anything new, you're just going to make the same mistakes, or you don't make any mistakes because you know exactly what's going to happen. So then you just be safe, right?
Yeah.
And then your life will be boring. And then to me, that's what some people think is what they want, security and like something that's boring and the same all the time. But to me, that's like death. That sounds awful,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like I mean, if like for example, like right now, I don't want to do this show. Today I didn't want to do the show, and then Steve wrote this song, and I was like, no, I have to do the show because it says it at the end. It's Thursday night in Delhi, and we have to do a show.
So that was it.
Yeah, that was it, and it's true. We have to do it because we've always done it. It doesn't make sense to do it this week, but it never made sense to do it. So it doesn't make sense to stop doing it,
Nope.
right? The only thing about it is, thing about when you're involved in some sort of an artistic pursuit is that when things go well, you feel like you vindicated that everyone that told you what you're doing is stupid or all your doubts or whatever, or like, like I had something good happen and it's all been worth it. But then like the next night you do another show and then everything that you gained could be lost, in confidence because it's so bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
And then you're back to like, just why did I do this in the first place? Because when it goes bad, then you really feel like they're all right,
Right.
And then I shouldn't have tried this in the first place, David Foster, I saw an interview with him, and he said that on Monday and Tuesday, he would let himself, he would do like on like Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, he would think he was the greatest thing in the world, and then on like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, he would think he was a piece of garbage,
Right.
and then on Saturday he would just take a day off. He said,
Go golfing.
yeah, like not think of it at all, and then but then he would allow himself to be critical of himself on those days, and then allow himself to be kind of like a egomaniac, where he think that you deserve to have this sort of success that he's got, right?
Yep.
Do you think that's true about like musicians and like people that achieve success in their like craft? And do you think that they eventually that hurts them, the success of it? Do you know what I mean? Did I trail off on a thought there?
No. I did. I trailed off.
It can hurt.
Yeah, it can hurt them, right? Like sometimes it's better to be struggling than the art is better because of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right.
Like if you like if a like we were talking about this earlier in the day, like if a comedian's talking about being a millionaire, like it's not gonna go over.
No.
Right. So once they are, it means they're not funny anymore.
Right. They're out of touch.
Yeah. Now I think in music though, they like the bravado of success though, right? So it doesn't. I don't know, but the music does suck if people are happy.
It's genre related. You know, you look at a band like Korn or Limp Bizkit or Slipknot back in the new metal days when I was a kid. These bands were pissed off. They had no money. They're touring. They were fucking giving it them all. Then when they got their $1 million, it's like, well, how do you write a song about being mad about your mom or being at home or whatever?
Yeah,
you like literally have millions of dollars. So now they like take a step back and start writing from the perspective of the people, and it's a big change, and it's just not the same.
Yeah. You know what? I agree with that. Even Rage Against the Machine. Once they were like successful, then they're like, it's our time. We have to go touring now because the times require us to sing our songs. Like, fuck off.
Thanks for the $300 tickets. Thanks. Rage Against that. You guys must be so mad about $300 tickets.
Yeah. Exactly, right? And I remember when I used to grunge was my era. Not when I was young though. When I was young, it would be like Motley Crue or whatever. There's nothing. That was just bubblegum bullshit because you're a kid, right? But the first time I liked real music, it was like grunge, right? And then I liked Pearl Jam, and then Pearl Jam started selling wine, and he was wearing a golf shirt at one point in time. I went to see him. And I'm like, this is fucked, They got old, and then they're just peddling their shit, It sucks, the baby boomers that everybody like can openly make fun of now. Yep. Okay, boomer and all that shit. It's like now we hated the baby boomers all the time, the Generation X. Yeah. We knew that it was fucked up, and yet no one cared. And then now everyone can make fun of the baby boomers. They were the hippies. And they were the ones that were supposed to change everything, and then they didn't. They made it all worse. And then I guess we had a shot, the Generation X, did we?
We were so small.
We didn't do fuck all.
We were so small.
Well, we did. Do we get the internet? Do we make the internet?
I thought Al Gore did the internet. He's a boomer, right?
I don't think he did the internet. I think that was a gaffe, right? That he said something like he made the internet, but he did not.
Stephen Harper then, right?
Stephen Harper did. Yes, thank you.
He
is the internet.
Who was before Obama? Was that Clinton?
No,
Bush.
It was George W.
Bush. I heard a thing that said that Obama was the first president that's ever played a Nintendo, an old NES. You think about that?
Oh, really?
Apparently. I don't know where my facts come from, but
and the only, right? Because I don't think Trump's ever played one.
I think that Trump's probably rocked some Super Mario 3.
No,
I mean,
the controller's too big for his tiny hands.
I don't think he's ever done it. I don't think he's ever.
I don't know. You seen those scantily clad photos of him on the bed with the robe and shit? I don't know. I think he's had some fun. I don't know.
He has had fun. He's had hookers pee on him, but he hasn't. If that's your, if you, yeah, if you're doing that stuff, you're not playing video games. That's what I'm saying. You pick a lane.
Yeah.
You go, I'm gonna get urinated on by Russian prostitutes or play Mario Kart. You don't do both. You can't have both. What kind of world is this? I think you pick a lane in that. I don't think there's a lot of carryover. People that are playing video games, it's because they don't have the means to take a plane, go to Russia, get a nice bottle of Pedialyte, fill a prostitute up with it, and tell her, meet me in the bedroom, and we're put down a nice, maybe a garbage bag or something.
I like the Pediatouch or Pedialyte. That's
Well,
a
you
good
don't want her to
touch.
get dehydrated, eh?
No.
You want to think of the lady. Pedialyte.
Pedialyte, perfect.
Yeah. Not Gatorade either. We're talking about it's going to help her, not fill her up with salts and sugars, Steve.
Sorry.
Professional woman.
That's my go-to.
Yeah. Yeah, Pedialyte. Anyways, we should get to a segment that we call a feedback.
We got feedback.
Welcome to Feedback. We got feedback. This week's segment is brought to you by our good friends at Spiky Ball Studios. If you are looking at improving your online presence, please give Spiky Ball Studios a call at 519-420-7566, or you can email us at spikyballstudios@gmail.com. If you need anything done, like a website video, if you need maybe a marketing, something for a booth at a marketing show, if you need something to put on your social medias, if you need just some sort of your life's ambition to be realized, give us a shout at Spiky Ball Studios, and we will do what we can to help you out.
Yeah.
We have a great team that we've assembled here, and we are partnered up with the good folks at Silver Drop Media, and so we can solve all of your problems. Give us a call at Spiky Ball Studios. That is it. Oh, and then Clean Flow. I'm just going to give Clean Flow a little shout out. Clean Flow.
Bling.
Bling. That's when we don't have that stinger. So this week, I'm really excited about our feedback because we actually got some from Australia this time.
Australia.
Yes, Australia.
G'day.
And we had last time, I think it was 2 shows ago or something, I was talking about Australia, and I said we had real listeners there, like real ones, not just robots or whatever. It doesn't matter. Some of the other countries, they look like we're a big deal in France. We've been a big deal in France for a few months now. But I think it's fake. I don't think those numbers are real, right? But these Australian numbers that we have are real live people who are dedicated to our program. They listen to a lot of our shows,
It's awesome.
And the one fella, and I don't hope I'm saying your name right. So it's from Emil Van Steeg.
Yeah.
And it could be Emil but I think if you say it like Emil, then it's kind of sounds like maybe it's in Australian. Emil. But it's Emil. Emil Van Steeg.
Emil.
Whatever it is, I hope I didn't say it wrong, but I did say it wrong a number of times because I said it 8 different ways. One of those is right, I'm sure. He says, "G'day, Pete. As a dairy farmer, I never heard of anyone fucking a teat dipper," which is really refreshing that somebody's actually came right out and said it, that no one has fucked a teat dipper. But then he goes on to say, "The dip in my lifetime has always been sprayed."
Oh.
So they don't even dip their teats. They spray the teats with iodine.
Huh.
Hey? Well, then there's all the fun. Because a teat dipper looks like a fleshlight, but it's full of iodine. They put it into the teat, to dip it,
Just
right?
keep that motion going, yeah.
Right. So you would think if you're dipping a teat all the time, you're lonely in a barn. I'm just saying. Emil says it's been sprayed on. Most likely in Australia, they got rid of the teat dipper, mostly because I think the farm hands were always fucking them, right?
Must have
And
been.
now they say we got to switch to spray, so the guys are spending more time milking and less time putting iodine on their dick, right? And then he went on to say, never heard of bat shit smelling good, because I said there was fruit bats, and they those flying foxes, and they would eat fruit, and then their shit would smell nice. That's what Brandon said. And then he said, we don't have bats in our part of Australia, but the Queenslanders are different, so who knows?
Wow.
Yeah, and I also didn't know that the New South Wales people and the Queenslanders had that sort of rivalry. That they're different over there in Queensland. Did you know that?
I know that Australia is a lot bigger than I thought.
What? How big did you think it was?
Well, I saw a map recently where it shows that it takes up like most of North America
Oh yeah,
in terms of size, and I never thought it was that big.
most of it's nothing too. It's like barren, right?
Yeah. It's like Newfoundland. There's nothing in the middle.
Really?
Yeah.
Newfoundland's got nothing in the middle? It's got trees, I bet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rocks.
Yeah. You know that
Moose.
Russia's nothing.
Yeah.
Moscow's just like in the middle of a forest, I think. It's just all forest, and most of Russia's just fucking forest. Or tundra.
You know, I play a lot of Pokemon Go.
Of course.
Of course. And I'm a cheater. Okay. So what I do is I route my my address so that I can play in different countries. And I've noticed when playing in Australia, there really isn't a whole fuck of a lot going on. Same with Honolulu. Hawaii, there's like 4 roads. That's it. I see people paying $4,000, $5,000, whatever to go there. It's like 4 roads. I don't even know. Ridiculous. But Australia, yeah, you're surprised. There's just like a Sydney on the bottom and not really a whole lot going on.
Yeah, it's all like on the coast.
Perimeter.
Yeah, because if you go too far into the inside of it, they fucking kill you with all these poisonous everythings.
Fucking wallabies and shit.
Yeah,
Are wallabies poisonous?
No, actually, wallabies probably are the most innocent animal. I probably got that
Oh,
wrong.
yeah.
Aw.
I saw this marsupial wolf that's extinct, right? The last one died in the 30s, and they had this rare footage of it, and they showed this wolf, a marsupial wolf, that was an Australian animal. It was pretty cool looking.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Had a pouch and everything.
Yeah. That's how that's why they call them. For some reason, that whole fucking continent's got pouches on it. Right? Everything's got a pouch.
A lot of drug dealers.
Yeah. You think that's why those animals have it? They're dealing to the Aboriginals probably because they're more in touch with
Well,
nature.
Don't they have like weird like roots and shit that they can just chew on and get fucked up? Like, I remember when
Does
you
it
watch
ever-
like border security and stuff, you see these weird drugs that like I've never seen before. Like some of the guys got a big fucking root and is like, oh, that's drugs. I'm like, that's a fucking root, man. I don't know. What are you gonna do with that?
Wow.
It's like the first time I saw fentanyl. I was at a bar DJing and somebody came up and they were selling it to somebody and they pulls out his coat. He's like, yeah, look at this. I'm like, what the fuck are those patches? Those look like you like bandages you put on.
Cool.
Like, no, that's fentanyl. I'm like, what the fuck is that? What do you do with that? They're like, oh, you can cut it up, you can shoot it. I'm like, yeah, you can get that shit away from me.
Yeah.
That was like 10, 12 years ago, and now
Yeah.
here we are. Fentanyl is a thing. I just
Yeah.
saw a guy with some patches and whatever. He was selling them for like $50 a patch. I'm like,
Hey.
Jesus, you really roped some people into some stupid shit.
Yeah, those
We
are
were to-
expensive Band-Aids.
Yeah, really.
We were putting on this comedy show recently, and then we were in the parking lot leaving after, and the police came in, and there was this one girl selling that stuff, and then they were trying to arrest her, and then it seemed like she was like in handcuffs and shit, or like somehow was restrained, but then they just kept telling her not to resist, and then like kicking her as hard as they could, like in
Punching
her.
as hard as
And
they could.
punching her in her
Wow.
ribs and stuff like that. And it was brutal to watch. And we were like, shouldn't we go help her? I'm like, well, those are the police. 'Cause they were in plain clothes.
Fuck are you gonna?
Yeah, it's
Yeah, so
crazy.
but it was like, it was awful, man. But they're serious business, I guess, about that shit because it kills so many people. And
Yeah.
everyone's always going in and out of the hospitals. If you go to
Awful.
the hospital now and just try like have a real problem, you gotta like wait forever because they keep bringing in overdoses over and over again. Like it's constant traffic of overdoses in there.
Oh yeah.
See, people like it when you overdose off someone's shit because they're like, oh, well, that guy's got the good shit. He'll kill somebody. And
That's
they all wanna
great.
hit it up.
That's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
It's so true. It's ridiculous.
Why? I don't understand that logic. Is it? It's crazy though, right?
Well,
Is
you
it-
just don't do as much and you'll get right fucked up.
I don't
It's
understand.
ridiculous. I actually have friends in Tilsonburg, yeah, that at their house somebody was smoking, I think fentanyl, and they went to the hospital, did an overdose, and then 4 hours later, someone else from the same house smoking the same fucking fentanyl. I don't know why they didn't seize the fentanyl. Well, maybe they did. I don't know. Maybe they had extra fentanyl kicking around. I don't know. Ridiculous.
It's
Moral of
constant.
the story.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. That's why I will stick to some other concoction that I make up. The things that I agree with.
See, we used to just take apple juice and pour like yeast in it and leave it in the closet for a while in college, and then just drink it because you get drunk off it.
Yikes.
That's hey, now that's a good time.
That's just fermentation.
Yeah. That's hey, no big. That's college life.
Is there anything if you could figure out how to make your own stuff? I don't even know where I'm going with this. I was gonna say like, you know how you can make your own booze and you can make your own, but booze never really tastes like the booze that you buy. Eh?
No.
Have you ever been able to make home brew where you're like, oh, that tastes like as good as a beer?
If it's a kit, when they give you the kits, yeah, they're pretty seasoned. But like to go and get some hops and shit from the farm and
Brew up some Bud Light.
yeah, no, it ain't gonna happen. It's all that sour shit. You've had those home brews or the
Yeah, they just
craft beer.
Yeah.
It's like when someone offers me a craft beer, I'm like, I'll rather drink Busch Ice. Good.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's fine. I'd probably have a Coors Light over some craft beer. I don't know. Sometimes.
If it's too hoppy and stuff like that, you need to eat it drink it with a fork. You know, it's just like you get through 3/4 of it. I do like a bitter beer though, like one that's bitter, like an IPA or something like that. I do like that, but because it's
Even a
quenching.
lager. Yeah, even a lager can be nice. Yeah, done right. Not in the basement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, would you make whiskey out of a still?
Sure. If I had a still.
Well, you
We're
gotta be
allowed
careful.
to do that, right?
I don't think so. Because
Why?
you gotta be careful because it turns to wood alcohol. You could die.
Oh.
Whiskey, vodka, stuff like that. Because we were looking into doing it and getting a still and going down by the river, and you gotta cool it, heat it up, and cool it down and shit like that. But as long as you have a wood alcohol tester, then it's safe.
Mm-hmm.
But the government would rather you just not do that at all.
Right.
Not too hard liquor yourself?
It's like distillery.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can get wood alcohol. I don't even know how wood alcohol comes to be. I don't
It
know.
doesn't have to be wood. It can be grain.
Well, yeah, no. When I say it was they use grain and shit. They use corn and whatnot. But I was told it was called wood alcohol. Maybe this is worthy of a Google search.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Though
because
Dutch Halls doesn't
I'm
usually use Google because we just make up facts and then just
Yeah.
treat them like they are. And some people will listen to us and believe us if we don't look up the real fact. But this time we'll allow it if you want.
methanol.
Wood alcohol is methanol.
Yeah.
It's like a byproduct of it, and you can't drink of that. Tastes like wood.
I guess it does say destructive distillation of wood.
How about
Makes sense. Maybe there's some part of it where it's in a wood container, perhaps? I don't really know. We'd have to actually look at a diagram of a still, but it's usually copper, right? I don't
you
know.
ever heard anyone make their own root beer?
I'm ignorant.
Yeah, I've made
Or
my own
glass
root
or
beer.
stainless.
You have?
Yeah, so I don't know.
You've made your own root beer?
Yep.
How did you do it?
I used to do it at camp, and when I was a counselor, we made it with my cabin one summer.
You buy a bunch of roots and put it in a barrel?
No, it was a kit.
Root beer kit?
Root beer kit.
But it's
Okay.
roots, right? It's got to have roots in it.
I don't know if it
Otherwise,
has
how
roots.
can it be root beer with no roots?
What is the root? What is the root from root beer?
There's a bunch of roots. You got to buy them at a health food store, like licorice root and this root.
I think
And
it's
this.
bark. Bark.
Oh, that's cool.
Is it bark?
Yeah, there's some bark.
Bark's
Some
root beer is
birch.
made from bark.
Birch.
I don't know. You can look Google that too. I don't know shit about that. I know when I was a kid, my neighbor made sarsaparilla,
Mm.
and then she came over and let me try it. It was good. That's all I know, and I've been thinking of it ever since. But I never heard of a person that did it. But you did it at camp,
Mm.
and there was a kit for it. That was exciting. There's a
No.
barrel and a bunch of roots.
Yeah, there was no barrel.
Did you guys see any of those in Jamaica, the root drinks? When you were
No,
there?
Mm-mm.
They're famous for it.
I had the one. I had the Campari, but that they drink it there in Jamaica. It's made from a bunch of bitter roots, and it's
Mhm.
pink, you know. But that's Italian. But they drink it in Jamaica a lot. It's supposed to make your dick hard,
Oh.
and they have it with Jamaican rum. It's called Cersei,
Cersei.
and then you mix that, and then the rum's supposed to get you drunk, and then the other stuff's supposed to get you like hard. So every time you order one of those drinks, they would they'd make fun of you because they know what you're up to. Hey, the one time I ordered a Jamaican ramen, and the guy goes, "Where?" No, I ordered a Cersei, and he goes, "Where we keep the Campari for this white boy?" That's what they said. They didn't think I knew. They're right in front of me. They're like, "Yes, sir." They're being polite, and then in front of me, they think they're talking like patois or something, but it's like that's easily understandable. That
Yeah.
you just. Anyway, I think that's funny.
For sure.
Anyway, I want to say to Emil Versteeg, thank you very much for the feedback. And that was that's awesome to see. Like I believed we had a listener in Australia for quite some time. Then we got some messages on social media from them. Now we have an actual piece of feedback. Next thing you know, we're all off to Australia, and we're gonna be the biggest sensation in Australia since rabbits.
Oh.
Yeah,
Wow.
that was a big sensation.
It's a long time
Rabbits.
ago. Nothing better than rabbits, eh?
Huh?
That's their logo. We've got nothing better than rabbits.
And a kangaroo.
They said when the first settlers went over to Australia, the cats and like the pets that they brought over just decimated all the natural the stuff that was natural of that area,
What wasn't his? It was a prison island.
and the diseases too.
Yeah, that was like a prison for England.
Yeah, for England. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty sketchy there, from what I've heard.
You never been?
Oh no, but I've had a lot of friends that actually went and planted trees down there. They talk about Nimbin a lot. Apparently, Nimberland is like the pot capital of Australia, and you can buy weed in alleys and shit. And yeah, and there's like a pot museum and shit. It sounds like a good time.
I don't know. They got good milk there, from what I hear.
Sweet.
Good dairy farms in New South Wales. Anyways, thank you very much. And if you would like to give us some feedback, do it at live from the Dutch Hall at gmail.com, or you can just do the Dutch Hall at gmail.com. Turns out we have both of those things. And you can also go on social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and all that shit. We are Dutch Hall, or live from the Dutch Hall. You can find us there. So that is it for feedback. We're just wanted to talk. There's one thing I wanted to talk about with Steve. Pre-show, we were talking about guns, and I really wanted to have. I would have put money on it that Steve the Reluctant German had never fired a gun in his life. I thought Zinger probably had done it because you look like you grew up on a farm or something like that. Did you?
Oh yeah.
Okay, and then and Jordan just seems like firearms were a piece of your life.
No, not even actually. Just recently, my father-in-law. Well, they were all out shooting guns, and I kind of was.
And that was your first time?
Yeah, they gave me the woman's shotgun, and I shot that, and I thought that was quite a wallop, as Neil would say.
Yeah.
And then they gave me I guess a bigger gauge. Then they went in the house and got a big shotgun, and I ended up taking a few steps back. There's a lot of power, a lot of wallop. Just saying.
Yeah, a lot of now. So, that's a surprise. I would have thought that you were brandishing weapons. Your life seems like Grand Theft Auto to me.
No.
And then you have a lot of stories though.
Yeah.
And then
words like gat.
you say, but Steve on the other hand, Steve doesn't seem like he's out there. If Steve's firing weapons, it's because he's hiding them in his black trench coat and going into his high school to make things right.
That's right.
But you have fired a gun. You told me before the show.
Yeah, it's true.
And I just need to hear the whole story. I want to hear it fresh on the air. A situation where a weapon and Steve come together, and you fire a weapon.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
I was 18 years old. I was at a buddy's cottage, and his dad woke us up every morning by firing rounds off his shotgun right outside our windows.
Wow.
And yeah, it was awesome. And then one morning I woke up and I was like, "Can I shoot your gun?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" So he pointed me at like a log that was near the shore at the lake, and I aimed for it and was off, like way off, like meters, and I just shot it straight across the lake into the woods. And he was like, "Oh my God, like you could have killed somebody. Like I told you to aim for the log in the water." It's like, what the fuck? I've never shot a gun. I don't know how to aim it, but it was a shotgun.
And then never again.
Never again.
Did it hurt?
How was the wallop?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Maybe it was the lady's gun.
Could have been.
Didn't wallop you?
It looked like you put like little AA batteries in it. Like it's just little pop, just little guys.
Yeah, no, I didn't get to load it. I just got to shoot it, hold it, and shoot
I had
it.
a bad experience with guns every single time I shot one, except for when I went skeet shooting one time with Jason Riders.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah, it was the best. It was actually really fun. We did it where you had they threw the skeet. They threw the whatever, the skeet or whatever. And then the first guy had to shoot it, and if he missed, then the next guy would try to hit it before it hit the ground. And if he shot it, then that guy's out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that was the game we played. It was super fun. That's the only positive experience I had with a gun in my life. It was that. But every other time I just ended up hurting myself, because they were terrible, terrible experiences. One time I found a shotgun shell on when I was waiting for the bus. It was in the ditch at my farm or whatever. I found a live shotgun shell, and I brought it to school. Just kept it in my pocket, And then I was playing with it on the bus, and the bus on the way home already. I brought it out at every recess, the live shotgun shell, threw it around.
The 80s.
Show and tell.
And then I'm playing with it on the bus. The bus driver sees me, and then gets off the bus at my house, keeps the kids on the bus and gets off the bus to tell my dad what I had on the bus. And then my dad, I didn't even know we had guns in my house, but we had a shotgun, and he took it out of the closet and then loaded this thing into it. And then we had one of those pinwheels on the tree, from July 1st or something like that.
Yep. And
he went into the driveway, and I remember he just shot the shotgun at the pinwheel, and it blew up. My dad said afterwards he said he couldn't do that. He was shocked that he hit it because he doesn't really
once in a million shot.
Yeah, he doesn't really fire guns himself. And then but anyways, I remember just crying then at that point in time because it was so loud and it blew up the thing, and I had no idea, because I was young. I was so young, I had no fucking idea.
No, how could you?
I just remember that I've picked up shotgun shells before, but they were empty, right? So then and this one was heavy. So it was this was full,
Mm-hmm.
I was really happy about that. Normally you would take a nail and a hammer, right? And then you'd bang it and then make it blow up, right? Or you just hammer it. You wouldn't take a nail, you would just take a hammer, right? I think you put it into a vise and then you no one
dangerous.
No shit. Every single thing I did was dangerous when I was young. It was the 70s and 80s. It was the best.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how anyone survived.
No.
When back in the 60s, people used to drink and drive all the time, and everyone tells the stories about how cops just tell you, take it easy on your way home. Remember that?
And the 70s.
And the 70s, yeah. But people would be every year there was a page of dead kids in the yearbook. Right? That was the difference.
Ouch.
That was true, though, right? People talk fondly. They're like, yeah, the cop just said this, go home. But, yeah, they look at old yearbooks. There's always an in memoriam page at the back with all the kids that died from the same thing. So things have actually gotten better. That's my point. Even though it sucks, because I can easily drive at 0.08 and be fucking great at driving. But I would lose my license, right? Give me a 0.09. I could drive at 1.257.3. That's what I mean. Dave's charter said you should have a graduated license where they give you booze like Johnny Fever on WKRP, and then they test your ability to drive as you get more drunk. And then if you can drive drunk, then you get a drunk license, right? So that
no big deal. I
don't get an impaired unless my alcohol is 2.75 because I'm such a good drunk driver, right? But some other lady who's just terrible, can't hold her booze or whatever, that girl can't. She's maybe 0.04.
Would it be like a bragging right, at a bar? Oh, I got a 0.8 license
for sure.
Well, fuck you.
Yeah, I got a 2.7.
Yeah.
I'm the best drunk driver ever.
He's getting laid.
Bartender, another drink.
Yeah.
I got a license for it.
Turns out I'm the best at driving when I'm blacked out. I'm thinking about it. Turns out when I went to Jamaica with Steve, this girl that came on with us brought a funnel, and then I funneled beers one day, and then forgot that day completely. And then my wife had to go out to the luxury restaurant or whatever, the fancy schmancy restaurant.
The French place.
By herself. Little table for one, because Pete's having a little nappy poo. You ever do something like that?
well, my wife's reaction. Well, one time I went with some friends down to Niagara Falls, and we were going down to the Palisade to play the bowl after the casino. I was pretty dickered up, I'm not going to lie. I was hanging out the cab window, high-fiving people down Lundy's Lane, and the cabbie was surprisingly cool with it because, I don't know, it was just kind of it was funny. It was a lot of fun. But anyways, when I got home, I was so drunk that I couldn't take my shoes off, and it was the first time my wife's ever seen me that drunk. And I laid on the bed, and she was talking about going to get a suppository for me.
Oh.
I think a Gravol suppository or something like that, and because she's a nurse, right? She thought that that's the best method at this point. And I just ate a Wendy's Baconator and just went to sleep. Just give me that Baconator.
And then when you went to sleep, she shoved a suppository in your ass, I bet.
She did. She was very gentle.
You know,
nurse's hand, yeah.
Yeah. Nurses are good ladies, is my opinion.
Yeah, she's a good woman.
Yeah, they're good to get married to, and the worst people to get married to are hairdressers. That's what I heard. A very good friend of the show gave me that advice. He says, if you're looking for a wife, go for a nurse. Do not go for a hairdresser, is what she said. I'm sorry to hairdressers that might be listening to this, but according to this fella, friend of the show, he says hairdressers no good.
So recently we had a bat in the house.
You change the subject. Does this have something to do with a hairdresser?
No, it has something to do with overreacting.
A nurse?
Wait, did you say gat?
A bat?
Oh, bat.
Okay, so okay. Your wife's a nurse, and there's a bat in the house.
This bat, although was hibernating, so it just was come crawling out. Now, earlier in the year, maybe 3 months ago, we did have a bat flying in the house, and we thought that it went back up the hole of the register after, but I don't believe it did. I think it hid somewhere and hibernated. And then all of a sudden, we have the newborn, the 6-month-old on the ground, and there's a bat crawling next to the newborn,
right.
Making whatever sounds. That was a terrible attempt. So my wife kills said bat. Now it's been a 3-day ordeal because of looking into rabies, and we called the health department and called all these different people, and they came and seized the corpse of the bat to test it.
Yeah.
And my wife's, now she can't sleep for 3 days because we have to wait to find out if the bat is rabid, because if the bat's rabid, it was near the baby. We have to give the baby the shots. And I'm like, the baby's fucking fine,
We're
man.
not doing that.
I hate to tell you, if that baby had rabies, it would be upset right now. But now, if she listens to this, I'm going to be in so much trouble.
Oh my gosh, I don't even know why you did it. I'm watching you the whole time.
Don't take me seriously. And it's
Also, she's the mama.
no, she's a
It's
great
like she
mother.
got to defend her nest.
She's a great mother, and that's the problem, is that I'm just too lazy.
No, I totally get it. I totally get it. I would let my kids suffer when I should take them to the doctor for like months.
I don't know about a 6-month-old though. You can't really.
No. You're not allowed to do that, or they will pass away.
Yes. So yes. But 5, 6, 7-year-old, fuck.
Yeah. Well,
Just don't itch it.
Yeah. No, I'm not. I always think that it'll just go away on its own, which is not always the case. Cancer's a tough one.
Yeah.
It's not go away on its own.
Cancer and certain venereal diseases. Yeah,
I have one that they say could possibly go away on its own, though. It said right in the book I read about the type of cancer I have that sometimes it just goes away, but it'll come back like in 10 years or something. But it'll just go into remission for doing nothing. So I don't know. I got fat again. I got skinny from it, and then now I'm fat, so maybe it went away.
It's just chilling.
Maybe.
Hibernation, just like the bat. That's really what's happening.
Yeah.
Stay away from his baby.
Your bat, your house is infested with bats then?
Well, there's one wall that, you can always, not always, but sometimes you can hear the squeak.
Yeah, yeah.
It's an outside wall. Now, there was this ceiling vent we had. So obviously they put in the venting. My house was made in the 60s, but they did all baseboard heating. So they put in all these air ducts and vents and shit later. So because they did that, it's just not plumbed the right way, if you will.
There's some cracks and stuff from the
yeah,
it's we got our house bat proofed one time because we had them all in our walls and stuff, and all they do is they like put the bats would come out every night to feed or whatever, and you could see where they come out, and then they would put like a door so that they could leave, but they couldn't come back in.
Exit only.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they would just have to go and fend somewhere else.
Yeah.
And it's funny because recently I was driving through a neighborhood and I saw someone had a bat box and they literally spray painted the Batman logo on it. I thought that was so fucking cool. I would rock a bat box. That would be awesome.
Bat boxes are cool too because
Yeah.
the bats are good to have around at night to
Yeah.
get for mosquitoes and stuff.
Absolutely. I don't dislike bats. So we did get the results today, and no, the bat was not rabid.
Oh no.
But apparently there is issues with killing a bat in your house. You know, you can possibly get 6 months in jail for doing something like that.
What?
Because bats are
Wow.
kind of somewhat like protected.
Hmm.
So you can't fuck with the bat. You really can't fuck with the bat. You're supposed to take it out humanely, but it's like there's still that like, quick Ned, grab the gun. He's coming right for us. I mean, you know, like it was near the baby. I fucking killed it. You know what I mean?
That is the weirdest thing I ever heard of. That you can't kill a bat. They're
Yeah, no.
protected, eh?
You gotta like capture it and humanely release it.
What about a raccoon? Can you drown it?
Oh, I don't know about coons.
How about a
Can
deer?
you?
You get a raccoon on my back porch, Mama just scared off with a broom.
No, I'm pretty sure you can't. I'm pretty sure you can't murder any animals because I watch the news in the morning, and it's from the city, and in the city there they always when someone gets caught like killing like a raccoon or a skunk or something like that, they call PETA, and the news ladies cry, and it's a real upsetting ordeal. And then
Are they really aggressive though?
huh?
Yeah, raccoons really aggressive? Is there really raccoon attacks? Like, does anyone?
You don't have to, like, I'm telling you, Jordan, you are on 100% right in saying you do not have to harm the raccoon in any way, shape, or form, and nor should you.
Mhm.
But I'm just saying, from my perspective, because I grew up on a farm, it never occurred to us to not kill them, you know, because they were pests, right? That would like a groundhog, right? Charters hit one on the head with a ball peen hammer.
What?
Oh, Jesus.
That was his job. It was his job when he worked
A
on his uncle's
raccoon?
farm. No, a
Groundhog?
groundhog.
Wow.
Ball peen hammer.
Yeah.
Jesus
Whack-a-mole
Christ.
for real.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
he had it on his farm all. He was out cultivating, and then and his uncle said, if you see a raccoon or you see a groundhog, you got to kill it. So that's how he had to do it. Because groundhogs they'll eat your vegetables. You ever watch Bugs Bunny?
I have.
That son of a bitch always eating the vegetables, right? Same sort of thing. You got to protect what you're trying to make a living at. So, like a mouse, a rat, can you kill that if it's in your house?
Yes, because mouse traps and shit. Yeah, that's fine. That's a vermin, if you will.
But they don't have bat traps.
No, you have to pay like
A
so
person.
many $1,000 to have your house bat proofed. I mean,
I had a bat in the church, and then I just freaked out, and then I opened the doors, and then I just kind of just kept like shutting doors and like cornering it until it had to go out the door, and then it just flew out the door. So I thought, but it didn't fly out the
no,
door.
that's what I'm trying to tell my wife. This situation was.
Yeah, it didn't fly out the door. It just flew behind a couch and died actually,
Oh, well, lucky you.
or maybe it was asleep. But I gave it to Shazma. He took it home.
The corpse.
Yeah, it was like mummified. It was like dried by the time we found it behind the
Well, that was
couch.
kind of cool.
Yeah,
but-
it was all dried out. But I didn't do that to it. It died on its own. I'm not going to get any trouble for that.
I didn't just coax it into this room.
And I wouldn't really, in my lifetime, I got to tell you, I have killed a couple bats before with a tennis racket or mostly broom and a shovel.
I'm a bitch when it comes to bats, man. That shit's
You
flying.
can catch live release that bat.
Yeah, you can. You can easily.
with a
Easily.
blanket.
Blanket.
Yeah, blanket. Yeah, you know
Even a
it's
bag, a garbage bag or something.
yeah.
Yeah, again, I'm not saying this is all from my youth when I
Right.
don't know any better.
Yeah,
And then you just do that stuff. This way, I just ushered it out. My goal is to usher it out the door. I'm a man of peace now. I'm just saying, I grew up in that, and like where it was violent, was more violent days. Things are better now. You know, kids are nice to each other now and stuff, and it's all like it is. A lot of things are better.
yeah.
You know.
Me as well, Pete. I grew up on a farm and, go out hunting and,
Yeah, yeah.
all that.
It was
Shot
just in
lots of guns. And then, but now I'm like 25-year vegetarian.
Yeah, yeah.
I have a live mouse trap. I catch mice at our house and let them all go in the same location,
Oh, yeah.
about a kilometer from our house.
Oh, yeah.
Did they find their way back? You think?
No way. It's
No?
way too far.
You think so?
for a mouse. Yeah.
Maybe a couple of kilometers.
I know my grandfather used to always live catch the squirrels in this area and then take them down to the cemetery, like 3K down the road, and it always, just always have this endless supply. I always thought to myself, I'm like, 3K really isn't that far for an animal, but you didn't have to do it over one day. I mean, you can spend 5 days. I don't know.
That's why you got to like spray paint them.
Yeah, the tail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
mark
you know
'em.
if they come back.
Tag it, mark it. Yeah.
And then you know if they come back. And then you have to come up with a different plan.
Right.
Then you do that plan and it goes away. It's fine. I won't murder anything. Though, if I was hungry, I would. Like if it was if I had to feed my family or whatever, then I'd start murdering animals again because it's an efficient way to get food and stuff, maybe. I don't know. Plus, I've always had the goal to strangle a deer with my bare hand. Which if I could pull it off.
Maybe a female, maybe a doe, because I don't know if you get that rack, I don't think you can get around that neck. I think it would get you, but a doe.
Yeah.
Maybe a doe.
Well, I'm not going to get the best in the of the deer. I'm going to have to get who's ever lagging behind. Maybe someone with a bad leg.
A child.
Yeah, baby.
Baby.
Newborn deer.
Yes. It's still wet.
I'm
with
still like
amniotic fluid.
That's
Never stood up.
yeah, that's
Pete's got it
nature's
in
way. It's nature's way.
Enjoy the nap.
Yeah.
Welcome to Earth.
Sleep.
You know, most of the time too, humans are hunter gatherers, right? Historically, and most of the time, the hunters got nothing, eh?
Yeah.
And the gatherers really kept everyone alive, and the hunters would just be the ones be like go out, and every once in a while they get something and make a big deal of it, and everyone eats a lot for a few days, and then nothing forever while they just gather, right?
Yeah.
Most of the gathering is really what keeps people alive. Hunting is just keep people occupied, happy. That's what I think.
There you go.
Because we don't have the right teeth for it.
A lot of vegetables in Norfolk County.
Yeah, you can stay alive around here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I think in an apocalypse situation, probably those farmers aren't putting as much in because you can't sell it.
That's right.
I'm reading Animal Farm now. Have you guys read it?
No, I haven't.
Have you read Animal Farm? It's a pretty easy read. It's a short. It's a little book.
It's like 94 pages.
Yeah, it's not a very long book. But it's pretty applicable to today. But it's basically saying like, you know how like the animals get together and you're like on a farm, and then the farm is like got like 100 acres on the farm, right? And then you got 100 acres on the farm, and like the animals are like say like, you know what, like this farmer's taking all our milk and he's selling the milk, and he's taking the eggs from the chickens and he's selling the eggs, and then he's if we were just like making milk for our kids, we wouldn't have to make nearly as much milk, you know. We could if we use this 100 acres just for us animals to live on this 100 acres, we wouldn't have to do nearly as much because we wouldn't be servicing the need of the farmer, you know. We would just be like servicing what we need to live. And he said we could live like kings on this same farm if we weren't farmers, you know, if we weren't doing the bidding of the farmer, if we were just living our own lives, you know. That's the premise of Animal Farm. So it's pretty apropos to today that
For sure.
everybody is working for the 1% or whatever. Really?
Yeah.
I think that's the translation. I used to work when I worked at the bank. I would make them millions of dollars, and then they would give me like a small fraction of that back, you know. But the amount you make them is way more than the amount that you get. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do cost savings at work, and I'm over $200,000 in cost savings, and I'll tell you right now, I don't make $200,000.
No, right? So it's like after a while, you know, like it becomes like that where it's not doesn't make sense anymore. And if the animals, I think, are going to uprise. I haven't finished the book yet, but I think the animals are going to uprise.
All right.
And I think I think the same could happen around in the world when it gets to be a point where people just are sick of. There's too many people that don't have enough, and there's the people that have enough have way too much. And eventually, there's going to have to be something that corrects it. Don't you think? Don't you think? Because it's like close. Do you think, Mike?
Mm.
Like it seems like it has to eventually. People just say, "I don't get it anymore." Like it's not doesn't make sense for me. Like there's always people like me. Like it happened to me. I did it like where I couldn't do it anymore, so I stopped doing it because it didn't make sense. But like eventually there'll be more and more people that do that because they'll keep taking advantage until it's not worth it, and then you'll stop, right?
Right.
We can only hope.
Yeah. That's what makes me most interested in Mike, which we're not going to have enough time to dig too deep into Mike tonight. Mike Zinger, though.
Rapid facts. At the
But
end.
one thing I admire most about Mike Zinger is because I don't imagine, Mike, have you ever had a regular job
Oh, not in a while.
in a long time?
Yeah.
Like, did you have a prison job like me? Like where it was like, would you sell insurance or something like crappy? Like, or
Years ago in another lifetime, in a factory.
factory work?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you did the thing where you were, and then what made you wise up?
Couldn't take it anymore. Couldn't punch that clock again.
It just it never sat right with you?
No, and then it became impossible. It was like, no, I can't do it.
And then once you step away, then you can't
Yeah.
imagine ever going back, right?
Yeah, I took a little time off. And did some touring. Lived in a Volkswagen van for a while.
And then so it was how old were you when this happened?
Like mid-20s.
So you knew right away, though. You knew pretty early then that
Yeah.
it wasn't for you.
Yeah, and then I took a leave of absence actually
Oh, really?
from my job. Yeah, they talked me into not quitting,
Right.
and then it was like a 6-month leave of absence or something like that. And I was in Boulder, Colorado when the 6 months came up.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not gonna make it back in.
Yeah. That's a good place not to make your decision, though.
Mm-hmm.
That makes it easy. That place, I love Boulder, man. That
Yeah,
place
beautiful.
is cool. Yeah.
Beautiful. That was in the 90s.
Oh, that's even better to go back to the 90s.
Yeah, man.
That's it, folks. That's an hour.
Boom.
But we don't have enough. Michael, you have to come back. Let's talk to you again.
Sure.
Because we didn't have a chance to dig into it. We know about as much about you as we know about Steve.
All right.
So that means Mike's going to have to come back. To all you people listening at this point in the show, I would hope that you could come back too next week. We will be the same place you've always found us at Live from the Dutch Hall. But we're not as live anymore, so we are just the Dutch Hall. If you'd like to give us feedback, you can do that. You know how to do it. It's on social medias or at livefromthedutchhall@gmail.com or at thedutchhall@gmail.com. Those are the ways to do it. If you're looking for any help with your audio video needs, we have it here at Spiky Ball Studios. So you can give us an email at spikyballstudios@gmail.com and ask us. We can probably do it for you.
Yeah.
And that's it for our show. So until next week, we will see you next time.